Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. So last week's episode was about seasonal depression, and I got a lot of traction from that one. So I think a lot of people have been struggling with some version of that. And so I hope that it was helpful to you if that's something that you experience. It seemed like an episode that a lot of people kind of resonated with. So I you know, I'm glad that I was able to reach some people. So this week's a little bit different. I wanted to talk about kind of the idea behind being a fighter in the sense that when there are a lot of things that come up in life. There are, things that come more easily than others. But a lot of the time when we're faced with challenging things or difficult situations, then there is a difficulty sometimes to push through that. I think that a lot of us, when there are obstacles in the way, we don't really know what to do about it. We don't really know how to see around it or how to get past it. And that obstacle can be sometimes it can be the thing that just kind of stops us in our tracks and doesn't help it prevents us from being able to really accomplish the things that we want in life. And so I wanted to talk about what that is and where that might be coming from, and kind of the connection between that and some mental health struggles that people experience. So let me explain a little bit about what I'm talking about. So, there are lots of things that you probably have had in your life that you either have set out to do, like a goal you wanted to pursue, if you wanted to, try to get a job or learn a new skill or buy a house or having a child, whatever you set out to do something, and you were excited about it, and you probably in your head you saw all the things about it that you were looking forward to, and you could see kind of, you had an image in your head about what you were hoping it would look like. And so you set out to do this thing, and then sometimes everything goes smoothly, and you really just kind of check all the boxes that you need to check off to accomplish that thing, and you get there, and everything is great, and then you move on with your life. But more often than not, along the way of our pursuit of something, there are challenges. It could be something that is really small, like you knew this kind of challenge would come up, and so you were kind of expecting it. And when it comes up, you just kind of try to deal with it, try to find a solution. But then a lot of the times there are unexpected challenges or unexpected obstacles that we didn't really know would even be a part of this. And so when they come up, we don't really know what to do about it. We don't know how to resolve it. And so, think of if you were trying to, I don't know, start a business, for example, and you knew some of the things that you needed to do, but along the way, there were things that didn't work out. Maybe you didn't secure the loan that you needed, or maybe you didn't know how to create a website, and every time you try to do it, it's not working, and it's just harder than you thought it would be. Or you're not getting clients as fast as you wanted to. Or think of a smaller example than starting a business. I mean, even if you just were trying to learn a new skill, if you're trying to create something like a project, trying to build something in your home, and every time, you go through the steps and you're following the instructions, and it's just not working out, and it's not going together the way you need it to, or it's uneven, or it kind of is falling apart, or whatever. It's not going smoothly. Then sometimes for some people that can turn into kind of like a hitting a wall, where for where you feel like, I don't know what to do, I'm just so frustrated, I don't even want to do it anymore, and then you want to just put it away and you want to quit and you just want to move on and not worry about it. And then there are other people that are, they'll get that same frustration, but they'll keep going because they know what's on the other side of that, hey, this is the thing I wanted to build, or this is what I wanted to do, and I'm just going to have to get through it. And that decision that you have to make, whether you push through the difficulty or you quit and you walk away, that is a crucial decision, because that will basically determine whether or not you get to overcome a challenge, get to the other side of that, be proud of yourself or be done with it, and then enjoy the thing, or just have that sense of accomplishment, and then you move forward. But that same, making the decision to quit can obviously it's disappointing you didn't get to do the thing that you set out to do. But for a lot of people, it becomes an internalized failure where it's like, well, I couldn't even do that. No wonder I suck at things. No wonder I can never follow through with anything. And then it just becomes another thing you failed at, where you just start perceiving yourself as a result, like you see yourself a certain way as a result of that failure, right? Now, it may not really be a failure. Some of these things that you quit and don't want to do anymore, like it may not be a big deal. Like, okay, so you didn't build the bookshelf you wanted to build, or, whatever. You didn't go to the workout class that you wanted to go to because you hit traffic and you were late. You didn't want to show up late, so you just went home, whatever. Those things aren't really deal breakers in your life. You're not going to fail at life because you couldn't do those things. But those things can absolutely represent failure to you personally if you struggle with those kinds of thoughts about success and failure and accomplishment, things like that. If you look at the things that you can't complete as failures, then you're going to probably feel bad about yourself as a result of it. And so the reason I wanted to bring this up is that there are a lot of people that struggle with insecurities around perceived failures. And that is, for the people who struggle with that, that can be a way that they start to look at their life in general, that then they can get to a point where they don't even want to take on new things, or they don't want to set goals for themselves or aspire to grow in an area of their life because they're so they're expecting failure, or they're expecting to not succeed, and so then they don't even want to try. And when we don't set out to do anything, we have no goals and nothing to look forward to. That, it's very, very gloomy. Like life does not really have anything super exciting in it if you have nothing to look forward to, if you have nothing to work towards and nothing to kind of look ahead to in your future. And so I'm making all these connections for you because I want you to think about how this applies to your life. Are you the kind of person that runs into a challenge along your path of whatever you're doing, and then sees that as an opportunity to grow, and then you keep at it until you overcome this thing, and you keep at it until you succeed at that thing, because that then becomes a part of your confidence and your skill that you've built for yourself? Or are you the kind of person that when you run into an obstacle or a challenge, that you get defeated or discouraged so fast that you quit, and then you don't really get that opportunity to experience pride in yourself, the feeling of accomplishment or fulfillment? Which one are you? Are you a little bit of both? Does it depend on the situation that you're in? Or are you clearly in one or the other of these groups? And I think a lot of people will probably be somewhere in the middle. It really just depends on what it is. But I know so many people who do have a really, really hard time pursuing anything, or anything important, because they're so scared of failure. And their perception of failure can be because of their own struggles in the past, maybe situations that they failed at, or just observing other people trying these things and failing. And what I always have to encourage people to remember is that we're all different, right? So if you and I are trying to do the exact same thing at the exact same time, there's a chance that you're going to do really well at it and I'm not going to do well at it, just because we're different. Our skills are different, our abilities are different, our commitment level is different, and vice versa. Some things that I'll be really good at that you won't be good at. But we can't determine our potential future success or failure based on other people and how other people do. And just because I've maybe not done so well at something in the past doesn't mean necessarily that it's going to be something I'm going to fail at in the future. I could have learned better ways to do it. I might just be in a better headspace where I'm more patient and I can come about it in a better way. But ultimately it does come down to that choice. Do I quit, or do I keep going? And sometimes the keep going requires a break where you reset and you get your head in the right place. But it's amazing how that choice, even though it seems like something so small when you really just think about individual experiences or situations, it does have a deeper meaning, because it's a mindset. Do you have a quitter's mindset, or do you have a fighter's mindset? Do you continue to push through obstacles in life and get to the other side of that? or do you quit when the going gets tough? And if you are the kind of person that quits when the going gets tough, I want you to really stop and think about that. I'm not here to judge you. I've quit plenty of things and I've pushed through plenty of things. But I want you to think about it because I want you to decide or to really just consider, how does that play out in your life? How does it affect your mindset? How does it affect your mental health? Does it then lead to where you feel some depression or discouragement about life? Does it lead to anxiety because you can't stop thinking about this thing that you messed up and now you're obsessing about it and it's getting in the way of you being able to move on properly? Does it play out where you are so visibly upset that now members of your family can see how down you are, and now it's just kind of affecting everyone else in the family, and you're just really kind of in a bad mood, and everyone else is feeling that? Or are you just a negative person that discourages other people from pursuing things because you're not, you haven't felt success or joy, so now you discourage other people because you have kind of a quitter's mindset. So, and I'm not saying that everything needs to be pushed through. There are things in life that we need to have the wisdom to know when to walk away from. And I'm not going to go into that so much right now because that's a completely different conversation about really having judgment about what's good in your life, what's not good in your life. But I'm referring right now purely to things that you set out to do as a goal. There's no apparent harm to anyone, including you. There's no, you're not breaking any rules by doing it. So walking away isn't really, a thing you need to consider. But it's just something that's difficult. It's something that's rewarding when you get to the other side of it, but it is not an easy task. And honestly, most things in life that are worth doing are hard or have hard aspects to them. If everything was easy, then everyone would accomplish everything and we wouldn't be growing as people. We wouldn't be, learning from other people about how to do things better. And life would be so boring if everything just came so easily and naturally. Like, yeah, it would be nice not to struggle, but that's just not how life is. The struggle is obviously, by definition, it's difficult, but it's part of life. It's part of, getting better. It's part of growing. By making mistakes, we learn from those mistakes and then we have the opportunity to do it better in the future. And regardless of whether we like it or not, that's just life. Life is full of obstacles. And so I want you to make a decision that just because something is hard doesn't mean you quit. And I think this applies not just to us as adults, but it applies to how we raise our kids. We want to teach our children to be resilient. We want to teach our children to not quit when something is difficult. When they're doing homework that's tough, if they're working on a math assignment that they are struggling with, we don't, quitting is not an option. You're going to have to figure it out. I'm going to teach you, or I'm going to get you someone who can teach you, but you are going to have to get through this. And you know what? Quitting feels like something we want to do, but it's just not an option. And so we have to teach our kids to do that. But if we set those examples for our kid, or if we want our kids to do that, we want our kids to push through and overcome obstacles, then we also have to do that too. We can't expect our kids to be resilient, to struggle, and then we quit at the first sign of struggle. It's not an option. Same with sports, right? If our kids are not doing well at their sport and they want to quit, well, all right, that's an option. But is it because they don't want to practice and they're not doing anything to better themselves? Well, all right, well, before we go quitting, let's practice more. Let's put some effort into it. And if you're putting your all into it and you still aren't enjoying it or you're still not good at it, all right, well then we'll maybe we won't do the sport anymore. But we are responsible for teaching our kids to push through and to overcome struggles so that they can grow up to be strong adults who are resilient to the bigger struggles that life throws at us in adulthood. So I hope for you, not only will you be working on being, stronger through struggle for yourself, but as an example to your kids or anyone that might be watching, that you're, setting an example for or a role model for. And I know, all of us, I'm guilty of this. There are some things that it would just be so much easier not to, whether it's, waking up in the morning to exercise versus snoozing and sleeping longer. Well, if I want to get healthier, or I want to be in a more fit physique, then I better get myself up and I better work out. That's kind of a simpler example of what I'm talking about, but a more, difficult example is, hey, I want to I want to work towards this goal where I'm training for a marathon, or I am working to start a business, or I am trying to save up for a house. And I hit this roadblock where I had this thing come up and I had to spend a few $1,000s fixing up my car. Well, okay, that probably derailed my plan, but now I got to get myself back on track and figure out how to continue saving, instead of being like, well, forget it, I don't want to ever buy a house again, so I'm going to quit. Like, we have to keep trying. If you are pursuing a college degree and it's hard, especially if you're going back later as an adult, you're going to have to struggle. You're going to push through. It sucks, but if you want that degree or you want that job, you better be willing to put in the hard work, and you cannot quit. But you might not know anyone who quits. Maybe everyone in your life is a fighter, but I know so many people who struggle to get through those obstacles, and when things are tough, they want to quit. And there's the act of quitting, and there's sometimes just the misery of doing it with the attitude of failure or expecting failure. So you still do the thing, but you don't put 100% into it because you're expecting to not be successful. So if you don't try 100% and then you don't succeed, then you have this built-in justification. Well, I didn't succeed because I didn't really try. Well, all right, but that's also setting yourself up to just continue to have a difficult life, right? So you have to be willing to do the work. You have to be willing to put 100% in. And if your 100% comes short of hitting that goal, then you're just going to have to find other resources. You're going to have to find some support. You're going to have to find someone else that can help you. But you have to know, if something is worth it to you and you really want to achieve that thing, then you have to be prepared for struggle, and you have to be willing to push through it. Because if you quit on a goal, you will always remember that. And it will make its mark on you. And you will have to live the rest of your life with some level of regret for not being able to finish the thing. Now, some things work out where, you didn't finish it, but, other things worked out for you. That's great. But more often than not, when it's something that you're passionate about and something you really want to accomplish, if you quit when the going gets tough, you will always remember that. You will always be affected by that in some way in your life. And I don't want that for you. And so it's never too late. It's never too late to be better in your mindset about your accomplishments or your ability to push through. Even if you're in, later on in life where you have a lot of regrets about things that you didn't do. Okay, well, what can you do right now that would make you feel better, that would give you that sense of accomplishment, that would help you achieve something that maybe you've always wanted to do and just never did it? Why not? Go for it. Do it right now. For anyone in any phase of life, this is a good time to set a goal and to work towards it. But like I said, anticipate struggle. You may not know exactly what that struggle is going to look like, but you know that if you're going to set out to do something new and something that's pretty big, there's going to be things along the way that you don't understand, that you're going to have to learn, or that you're going to have to get help on. And they're not always going to be easy, and it might take a lot of work, and you might be up late nights trying to figure it out. But if it's worth it to you, then the work will be worth it. And in the end, you will achieve the thing that you want to do. So if you are in a place in life where you're kind of missing something, there's something that you want to accomplish, or just a goal, just a dream, whatever, anything that you're like, things in life are fine, but like, I'd really be happier, or I wish I could have gotten a different kind of degree. I wish I could have gotten a different kind of job. I wish I would have, pursued this hobby. Well, you don't have to be in a situation of major crossroads or major change to do something new. It could just be that you want to level up your life. You just want a little bit of something better, or you want to start doing something that would make you happier. This is the time. I mean, we're in a season right now where, we're in the holidays. People are preparing to wind down this year, whatever that means for them. And then a lot of people kind of start out the year with new goals and new things like that. So if you are that kind of person that sets out, that if you want to have some kind of a reset, a reset can happen at any point in your life. You can do it today. You can wait until the new year. You can wait for 6 months from now. But at any point in your life, you can decide, you know what? I'm going to start this thing. I want to work towards this thing, and I am willing to put in the work. But you should not start something if you are not willing to put in the work, because anything worth doing is going to take work. And I've experienced this. I've started a business. I've grown a business. I've got some other things that I'm working on, and they haven't always been easy, because it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of investment, blood, sweat, and tears. Like, cried plenty along the way. I've felt discouraged plenty along the way, but I wanted this. So I kept going, and, it's been worth it. And I'm sure there will be all kinds of other obstacles, and obstacles come up all the time. They look different every time they come up, but there have been plenty of times where I'm just like, you know what, I don't even want to do this anymore, because it's just exhausting, or I'm so frustrated. But I can tell you, the things that I wanted to quit, that I didn't quit, man, I'm so glad I did it, because there was a reward at the end of that. And the pride I feel about that is so important to me. I value that. And when you do something, you create something, it's different than when something's given to you. There's just a different feeling that comes with being the one responsible for building something or creating something. And it doesn't matter who you are, what your experiences, your background is. If you have a goal, you have something you want to work towards, then do it. If you don't know how to do it, find someone that can teach you, find someone that can guide you, but be willing to put in that work. No one, if you're someone who's, there are people who are naturally talented at things, and then there are people that will just hustle. And sometimes those hustlers, people that will put in the work even if it doesn't come naturally to them, sometimes those are the ones that become the most successful people in the world, because it's that fighter in them, that spirit of not being willing to get up, not being willing to quit. That is what I want for you. That's what I want for all of us. I strive to be better at that, and to continue to build in that myself, because that is a mindset that I want to have. I want to be someone that's constantly looking to do better, to build myself up, to build my family up, to get myself and my family to a better place. And whether that's, in any way, but I have to be willing to put in the work. So whatever that is for you, whatever's popping up for you as you hear me say this, I hope that you will put it into action. I hope that you will decide, even if you've had a hard time getting through things or pushing through things, today is a day that you can decide that you're not going to quit things, and you're going to start fighting harder and pushing yourself harder. And then set that example for your kids or whoever's watching. Just, you be a better version of yourself starting today. So I hope that this speaks to you somehow. I hope that this helps you. And I'm going to wrap up here. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. All right, bye.